Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Spideydude Experience. This is another episode of the Chasmdude Experience. Thank you for watching. If you're watching us live on YouTube, if you are listening to us after the fact on the audio edition, thank you. If you're watching us on YouTube, give us a like, a share, and a subscribe. Before we get started, we always got to mention our patrons over at patreon.com. Share and subscribe. Before we get started, my bad, as my phone decided to connect. If you are watching us live again, thank you to our patrons, patreon.com/Spideydude Network. Patrons that are new. We got some newer patrons. Patrons such as the ones you see up on the screen: Allison, Cindy, Ed, Georgia, Greg, Janelle, Jessica, Jurgen, Catherine, Kale, Laura Howard, Lump Moose, Master Draymond, Phoenician, Scott, Vanessa, Vicky, Winnipeg, Webhead. And then we've got our newest patrons: Joey, Joyce, RJ, and Tara. Thank you guys for your support. We got Sarah, who is joined by Tara as a spectacular patron. And then Joey is a friendly neighborhood patron, $1 patron. Joyce and RJ are $5 patrons. Scott, Sebastian, and Venkman as VIPs. Thank you guys for your support over on patreon.com. Now, our next episode that we're going to be talking about is going to be Ultimate Spider-Man. Now, this issue came out the same day as the second issue we're talking about tonight. And we're going to talk about it next Thursday on May the 2nd. Double check my dates here, but yes, I believe it is May the 2nd. And so if it changes, we'll let you know. But we really are excited about bringing you the ultimate Spideydude experience. As of course, we are going to also, a week after that, I believe, or 2 weeks after that, it's going to be the Slot Symposium. And if you have not already, the latest episode of Books of X is available on our Patreon page. So if you have not checked that out, also check out our fun interviews. We got Juan Ferreira that we did with Saga Era Podcast, the Spectacular Spider-Man with Greg Weisman, and then the next time, I think week after next, the plan is to talk about JMD Mateus's Shadow of the Green Goblin. And of course, our very next episode here on the channel will be the Spider-Verse episode with me and Kelly talking about Spider-Verse Unlimited. Also, Voices from the Eyrie will have a new episode, as soon will Amazing Spider-Man Classics. So hello, everybody. It is just me right now. We already got people watching, so thank you guys. Yeah, I agree. Spoilers for the next episode. Ultimate 4 was a lot of fun. If you have not checked that out. So we will talk about that next week. But this week, we're going to be talking about the 2 Chasm comics that came out. The one that came out 2 weeks ago, and this one. That's why we are bringing back that old Chasmdude experience, because Neil wants to troll me. And we are joined by Adam. Hello, Adam.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
So, yeah, a little before, I thought I had set it for 8 o'clock. I accidentally set it for 7:30. I do apologize, those that were waiting. So, hello. Thank you to Ryan Reed for watching. If you're watching us on X, say hi. I just want to see if it works. For God's sake. If you're a bot, cool. If you're not, cool. We're also soundcasting on Comic Binge. We will stop our simulcast about 30 minutes before, so that way we're not interrupting their discussion about the Jim Lee era of X-Men that they're going to be talking about tonight. So if you're watching us on the Comic Binge, I'll let you know. We will cease it, and we will end the stream for that. So, okay, I'm not as prepared as I normally am, because I was expecting to have a full panel, and nobody wants to volunteer as tribute. So if you guys want to talk about ASM, feel free to. I don't even have my camera working right now. That's how unprepared I am today. It's just been an absolute. I had a migraine headache from hell, and it screwed everything up. Come on, baby. Come on. There we go. All right. So there I am on my actual camera. You can see more of my background that way. I can't figure out how to leave live comments on Twitter unless I leave comments like a regular post. I don't know. Like I've never we'll have to have somebody like maybe you know what, when they do Comic Binge and we're off air, I may just
probably
try to...
I think that's probably what you do. Let's see, live. It's live here.
Yeah. So, yes, the images.
Oh, there's a chat. So it says live on X off to the side.
Oh,
and it
there's an
shows
actual chat.
Yeah, it says Spideydude Radio Network is hosting, and then it has our episode, and you click on that, and it says broadcast, and it shows it, and it says say something. There's a chat.
Holy crap! Yeah, I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens. We're doing. Hey, look, Adam, we are live on Twitter. See, you can talk to us on X if you like. Those of you that are watching us on X, just be sure to click on it instead of just like hovering over it. Okay, so I was gonna pull up the box office mojo because Spider-Man 2 is making news 20 years later.
Yeah.
Hang on. Spider-Man 2. Yesterday, or Monday, excuse me, it was the second highest grossing film of the week. And so of the Columbia, it's already made $1.4 million. So that's cool. Hey, looky there. I can see it. I can can pull it up if you talk about Twitter. I'm frozen. I don't know how the live chat works on mobile. That's a great question. When they get rid of Chaka? Huh? Tevia, I don't know who you're talking about. Oh, hello, Tevia. Am I still frozen on your Adam? Or am I just...
Yeah, you're frozen for me.
Great. Let me
But you're coming in though. Yeah,
okay.
your
like the audio's coming in fine. It's just okay. So I killed my cam because maybe that'll help because
Now he's gone. Well, so anyway, yeah, Spider-Man 2, it's the weekend.
Yes, I could see it.
It's okay.
I'm back.
He's back.
This is why I miss having Neil, at least to be in the background. But okay.
Oh, there you are.
There we got 20 people allegedly watching us on online with Twitter. Listen, I'm going to talk about that.
I mean, probably.
The answer is yeah, that. So I was going to talk a little bit more about news, but we can get into the main bulk of the episode, I suppose, which is these.
Well, basically, we know that Sony's re-releasing all the Spider-Man movies in theaters every Monday, weekly through June, and they just did the first one from 2002 last week, and they just released 2 from 2004 on Monday, and I guess 2's going crazy because they added showings past Monday. There's showings at least through tomorrow, Thursday, and it was
awesome.
Reported. Yeah, it's great. And I've been looking, they're around here, they're pretty packed, like close to, I'd say like 90-95% full, a lot of them.
That's what I saw down here in Houston, so I'm seeing similar things.
Yeah. And it's been reported that over Monday it made over 800K. in sales, number 2 at the box office for the week, and it just broke 1 million. Yeah.
Which, I mean, again,
It's impressive. And this is a somewhat limited release. It's just the US, select theaters. I mean, I feel like, I don't know, there's a lot of theaters around me doing it. So,
yeah, the
all the AMCs here are doing it.
so they did a re-release in September of 2002, September 6th. And then I guess, which was like, yeah, and then they did, so that made like 6 million. So we'll see what the final numbers are when this is all said and done.
Oh yeah, you're talking about No Way Home.
This was the first Spider-Man. I went back and looked at Spider-Man 1. So I don't know if they're combining on Box Office Mojo all three, because it looks like it's 1.4 so far. I'm wondering if that is including both.
Right.
If they're just going to include the triple bill, which is Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3.
Right. Well, let's see. Because there were numbers for, I saw numbers for 1. So let's see here.
Yeah. Spider-Man 1 release. As we do it live.
Right. Okay, yeah, it might be it might be combined.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Because it says it's on right here on under 1, it has the same
number. So yeah, I'm wondering if the Spider, I think word of mouth got out after week 1, and now we'll see what next week holds, and there'll be some numbers, I'm sure, that are released. Look, Sony has to love this, because it's basically free money for them.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that, other than that, I do want to bring up, there was a Marvel Legend that was revealed.
Oh.
Yep. A one that I saw a leak about. So there was a fan stream last week talking about Marvel. Talking about their new fall initiative that they do every year. And sometimes this will be branded on the comic, sometimes it won't. 5 years ago, the 80th anniversary of Marvel was a big thing. And so this year, kill the ad, they announced that they are going to do a similar series. Now, the 80th anniversary had like classic characters like Thor, Captain America, Iron Man. They had the Hulk with the first appearance of Wolverine. So a lot of great figures that came out 5 years ago. This was 2019. This year, kind of similar. And I'm going to present and share my screen. Let me show. This is from Entertainment Earth. So it is Superior Spider-Man. Now, what I like about this one is that it is got the, if you look at the head sculpt that's on here. Now, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can see this. If you're listening to us on audio, I'm sorry, visual aids and or live comments. So they include 2 head swaps. One's the normal standard head. The other is a head that has the cityscape in the reflection of its eyes, which I think is really cool. Basically, from the waist down is the Renew Your Vows body. Pinless legs, pinless arms. They had to do some re-engineering of the torso, so it's not the Renew Your Vows torso, which a lot of people were kind of cranky about. But that's because of the backpack and being able to port the backpack in. Comes with the Waldos, so it has the 4 legs. And they said actually on the live stream that the original Marvel Legend, which I have right here on my desk somewhere, I did a short about it. So I've got, let me blow myself up so you guys can see it. So I've got the original Marvel Legend here. This one was from 2014. And this was actually based on the concept art that Ramos made. And it's on the pizza slice Spidey, which was, brand new at the time. And so a lot of people were thinking, oh, it's this body that they just reused. It's not reuse, but it's re-engineered. So it's kind of an in-between the two. So it comes with the hand swaps, the thwips, the punches, and the claw hands. So it's not crawl hands, but claw hands. Comes with an alternate backpack as well as the Waldos. So that was the big Spider-Man level announcement. They announced other ones, but only 4 of the ones that were announced have been available for pre-order. I also got word earlier today via Twitter that the Carnage, Target exclusive Carnage that was it's going to be on the 90s retro card back, will be pre-orders will go up next week from when this is recording. So by the time that the audio edition comes out, this will be already pre-ordered. So we'll leave links down in the description below for everything we're talking about here today. What else? I can't think of like any other major news that was off the top of my head. Adam, you got anything?
No. Ultimate came out today as well.
Yeah, we've already got the Ultimate Love in the chat right before you got here. So everybody's really digging the Ultimate 4. It's funny. I talked a little bit with my comic shop owner today, and I was like, man, it's like the best of times and the worst of times with the books today.
Yeah.
And it's not like this arc was bad. Don't misunderstand. I don't hate this arc at all. It's just
it's all right.
I think the arc was fine. I love Todd.
Yeah.
We'll get into it when I do the quick recap. But basically, it's the story itself is fine. It's just fine.
Yeah.
It's not blow my socks off away. And I'll be honest, Ultimate didn't blow my socks off away, but it was better than ASM. And I think that we're starting to get some movement on things that people have complained about on other shows. So that I've heard, and I'm really looking forward to where we go from there. So get my books up again. Sorry for the lack of preparedness on the episode. I'm lost without you, Neil. I miss you.
We're doing all right.
So, all right. I'm gonna throw issue 47. Best part of Ultimate is the taking a jab at Amazing.
Is it?
I don't
even know. I haven't read it yet, but like, is it like how apt would you say that is?
I don't know if it's taking a jab at Amazing, but we'll talk. Listen, table that talk next week, because we'll talk about that next week. All right. So from a couple weeks ago, issue 47, we've got guest artist Todd Knock and filling in for both issues. It's written by Zeb Wells. Todd Knock is the artist. We open with a kind of a horror show of a kind of Jason Voorhees hulked out version where he's going to mutilate every toe. And just as he's about to issue the killing blow to this person, turns out it's not who you think it is. It's Hallows Eve, because Ben Reilly, aka Chasm, is here. And so Sonia Obak is the color artist. Todd Knock is the guest artist. And so yeah, we cut back to the Lower East Side where we have Paul and MJ talking to Peter on the phone. Peter's very confused because Aunt Anna has basically set him up on a date with the same nurse that we met in the last ASM episode. The date seems to be going well when Peter gets several texts from Betty Brant. I would make a Bertone joke, but unfortunately he's got some stuff going on today and it just doesn't feel right. So thoughts and prayers to Bertone. Not necessarily in the mood for Betty jokes, but anyway, Peter rushes off, becomes Spider-Man, has a great big splash page of Todd Nauck drawing Spider-Man, which I could look at every week. Turns out in Alphabet City, there's 3 guys that are hunting Betty because of Kingsley. And just as it looks like these guys are going to get the upper hand on Betty Brant, Spider-Man shows up and he starts beating ass. Betty asks, why aren't you, making cracking jokes, and, taking names? But Peter's like, it's because my friend is very much in danger. We cut over to Oscorp, where we see more of the living brain. More on that next issue. And then we get Betty finding out what she's looking for, which is the Winkler device. Now, we have not seen the Winkler device since the beginning of I think it was the Hobgoblin arc during the beginning of Nauck's run. When a big giant werewolf shows up, Chasm shows up, the 4 of them start talking. Ben calls Betty Jane, confusing Mary Jane and Betty. We find out who they're here to see, that Chasm and Hallows Eve are here to see. It's Goblin Queen, to be continued into our next issue. So our next issue is the same creative team. Picks up right where we left off from last issue. Where, actually, excuse me, it picks up a little earlier from where we left off at last issue. The conversation between between Hallows Eve and Ben, and how basically they are being manipulated by Goblin Queen. We then get to the present day after the titles page, which Neil has done a titles page concept that's much better than this one. It's just so much better. So fight ensues. Peter is trying to convince Ben not to do the Winkler thing. Ben gets straps in the chair. Betty gets shoved out of the way as we get the homicidal maniac mask from last issue with Hallows Eve. There's a quick fight. And we kind of find out what the ulterior motives are. It's not that Ashley Kafka wants to cure Ben of what happened. It's to settle the scores and make him into the Goblin, basically transfer the sins of the Goblin onto Ben. And so, yeah, the conversation between Betty and Hallows Eve occurs, where Betty basically convinces her that, hey, we're both very similar women here. I understand you wanting to desperately help your man, but this is not the way. And so Peter pulls off the Winkler device from Ben, who starts remembering, maybe? I don't know. It's a minor reset of Ben's character. We'll get into that in a minute. But basically, Peter just beats the shit out of Goblin Queen. And we go to across town. Hallows Eve and Ben are they're wanting to figure out their lives. And kind of Hallows Eve kind of has that heart-to-heart with Ben. And part of what Betty says to Hallows Eve is, don't lose yourself trying to fix him, which I think is a very good message for the character. Then we get to elsewhere. Sinister Six basically have infiltrated their master plan, and the living brain must die. And to do it, the Sinister Six must burn Oscorp to the ground, which will be set up, I'm assuming, in issue 50. But wait, we have a tie-in issue next issue to the Blood Hunt event. See, I didn't. Oh, it works with even
there. It is
even the camera. Yay! Boo! Boo! Give me. I don't want tie-in issues. All right, issue 49, aka. Yeah, we got some Morbin time, as Ryan Reed says. And I'm sorry, I forgot to refer to her prior proper name of Gobby Mommy. So, my bad. Am I very echoey? Well, I apologize.
I don't hear an echo, honestly.
Ryan Reed says he thinks that Nauck wanted to do Jason. Listen, I really liked the way the colors were in this issue with Nauck. I thought they did a really good job. I thought
they were okay. I thought they were, I don't know, very murky. I guess it fits. There's kind of a horror tone, but
yeah, it's supposed to be a little more noir.
I don't like it on Peter's costume because it kind of washes out the suit. That's my con at the colors, I would say. But otherwise, I mean, they're very murky, and it fits this kind of like dark horror-esque tone they're going for. But Peter's costume is so washed out looking that I was like, I don't know. So it's
Yeah,
half and half for me on the
yeah,
colors.
I get that. So I'm gonna highlight a comment here. So Zach moves again with his awesome hat. I made sure to wear my awesome hat and my Ben Riley shirt because this is representing Ben Riley, not Chasm.
Mhm.
I kind of feel like we got a little bit of a soft reset with Ben. He's not acting
Right.
as
Cringy, edgy.
he's not trying to be hip and cool and edgy. It
Yeah.
feels like he's kind of got a little bit less of his brains scrambled.
Right.
Obviously, in my opinion, there's two things that are happening here, and I do think that are going to happen. Number one, I think we've been saying, like we talked about privately, issue 50. They do the whole press release,
Right.
announcing the Spider Goblin. Which again,
Yes.
if you're a 90s kid, I'm old enough to remember the action figure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's Ben, not Peter.
That would kind of make sense after this issue.
After these two issues, I'm going, it's Ben. It's not Peter.
Right.
And
that would keep, yeah, I can see that. Well, because that's the thing. Like, I was thinking, well, so they're gonna, it felt like, I was almost saying, like, okay, they put Peter in the Winkler device, maybe to try to give Ben his memories back. And then, like, Peter gets a new little goblin shard in there from that, and it manifests later, but that didn't happen at all.
yeah.
So, but Ben was in the chair, and he did say, like, oh, like, there's some bad stuff coming for Peter soon. So,
Yeah.
at the end, so I don't know.
So I'm wondering if Peter gets captured, then, does Ben try to save the
Save
day,
it.
but F's it up
Right.
by becoming the Spider Goblin?
When is that Kane thing coming out?
I don't know. So I do have one thing to say about Kane's appearance. Remember, Kane is no longer the other. So him having his scars actually still makes sense. Like him regaining the scars. So Ryan says in the comments that he thinks August is the time frame, which would make sense. August makes a lot of sense. I don't know if I don't know how I feel about it. To me, like Janine, Ben, and Kane as like a trio in a comic, I'm usually in. I give no F's at all about Freak and Druid or whoever the hell that was in the miniseries. And I'm also not looking forward to seeing Greg Land's artwork that is going to be released with it. So yeah. Ben, Scarlet, and Chasm being on the same cover instead of Kane and Chasm. So yeah, I don't God, Freak was one of the worst villains in Brand New Day's history. Like literally it was just an excuse to write drugs into Spider-Man. Because I reread those issues. I reread when we were doing Slot Symposium prep for beginning of Brand New Day. I went ahead and read not only Slot's books, but I also went ahead and read like the first 4 months. Because that was like that first 4 months, those first 12 issues are like your pilot
of
that era. And Bob Gale's was absolute ass. Like, I adore Back to the Future. Adore it. It's my favorite movie, non-comic book movie of all time. I hated him on Spider-Man. I did. The only thing that I felt was passable was his webcomic or digital comic series with Bob Gale that he did. That you can find on Marvel Unlimited. But yeah, he can't write Spider-Man. I'm sorry. He just can't. Which Daredevil story? Ryan Reed? I don't remember what are you confused? Because like,
wasn't he writing like it was, I think it was after Kevin Smith.
Oh, did he?
I
Oh,
think it was like a 2-parter thing or something. I can't remember.
I mean, I didn't read it. Like I'm not as big of a Daredevil fan. One of these days I want to do like a Daredevil read through, like I'm doing with the Spider-Man read throughs I'm doing. I'm currently halfway through the Clone Saga, so yay. It's always a good time. For me at least, not for everybody else.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I am at the point where I don't care about a lot of stuff with the Ben. And they've made me, when you make the biggest Ben Reilly fan apathetic about what you're doing, that's not a good sign, Marvel. Actually, the opposite of a good sign. That's a bad sign. I don't care what you're doing with Ben because it doesn't feel like Ben. It hasn't felt like Ben since you brought him back. Sorry. Like, we like to make the joke of, oh, it's the Chasmdude experience. And it's not, the joke isn't as funny as it used to be because I'm no longer angry. I have gone through the 5 stages of grief and I've gotten to acceptance. I'm no longer bargaining. Like, I'm just at the point where it's just like, whatever. Like, you can't troll me anymore with Ben Reilly. I still got all my Ben Reilly books and all the Ben Reilly stories that came before his return. But everything since is complete dog shit. Not everything. The Peter David stuff was meh. But that is the high point. When Peter David actually was introducing interesting concepts, even though I didn't agree with the concepts necessarily, they were still well written. Until the end, when basically, oh, we got to reset them back to factory settings and invalidate everything he wrote up the first 23 issues. It was basically, let's just crumple it up and throw it out the window. So, you didn't miss much. I've already gone through the recap. We haven't given our grades yet. We're just kind of talking about it. Nice. I have read the Frank Miller's, like I did read Born Again. I haven't read all of the Frank Miller run, but I have read that. And it was good. Don't get me wrong. It was good. And I did read like a couple issues of Daredevil that crossed over with Amazing and a couple of issues that crossed over with Team Up. So I'm not quite through with Team Up yet, though. I got to finish that, and then I'll have read everything. I'm going to do that and Spidey Super Stories. Then I'm like, I've read everything. Oh, and I need to reread the 2 Spectacular magazines. One of them got republished as an annual, I think, years later, but
yeah. Well, one became part of Conway's run, and then the other one was republished as an annual, yeah, after Gwen died.
Yeah. So I haven't read it. I didn't read issue 1 or issue 2. I am not reading it out of protest because I can't support Jackpot. I just can't. It's really difficult for me because I want to read a Black Cat book. I do. I like Black Cat. I've liked the stuff that they've written with her, and I've liked them together when Mary Jane's not a fucking superhero. The other day I got asked, or I saw a prompt on Twitter. What would you do if you had Spider-Man? And I answered it. And one of the things that I highlighted is not every supporting cast member needs to be a superhero. It has just become the trope. Flash Thompson, Liz Allen had a symbiote for a while. Mary Jane is now freaking superhero. Black Cat has been a superhero for years. Cool. I mean, at least they didn't bring up Rambo Betty Brant tonight with these issues, which I would have made sense. Like, to me, she should have been packing heat at least.
Right.
Like, this is a woman that got self-defense classes and firearms training to defend herself. But I don't expect Nick Lowe, sorry, Nick Lowe, to know that. You know who I expect to know that? Danny Chasm, the assistant editor. You know why I know that? Because of the conversations we've had about JMD Mateus and bringing up old characters and stuff. Like, to me, Danny is a guy that you bring in as a continuity dude. He would have been like the continuity cop of The Office, like they used to have back in the day with Mark Grunwald, Tom DeFalco, Bob Harris era. And I get it. It's not the same Marvel. I understand. But it's those little things. I thought Betty was serviceable here. It was nice to see Betty in this issue. It was nice to even see Mary Jane, even though I don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, I know everybody's freaking. Like, I know on that other place and that other show, they're gonna freak out. Oh, there's Paul. And give two fucks about Paul.
Yeah.
We're 35 minutes in. I can cuss. I can give zero shits about Paul. I did like the nurse. I liked that scene. That scene actually felt somewhat organic. And I'm like, okay. Like, I could see Peter dating a nurse from Ravencroft because of their shared experiences. They have have something in common. It didn't feel as forced as like Carly Cooper. Oh, she's such a nice girl, Peter. You should date Carly Cooper. She's such a nice girl. Don't you know how nice of a girl she is? So nice. Let's just say it so it belongs in later read. But like, look, I'm only bringing up the Carly Hammer thing because I was just reading a lot of Brand New Day, and that was a thing. I'm not gonna Jorge Fruitman it, but it was a thing. Like, every issue. Oh, don't you know how great Carly Cooper is? And then Carly's like written as like this Silver Age supporting female character, and it just does not fit in a modern setting. And so, kind of like Betty Brant. Speaking of Betty Brant, I thought they were going to pass all of the Hobgoblin stuff over to Miles, and I was kind of annoyed by that. So it's nice to see that we're getting touches and glimpses and pieces, which again lead me to think we're getting close. We're closer to the end than we are the beginning of Wells's run.
Yeah. I mean, the letters pages for both issues were talking about how Romita Jr. is hard at work on the Tombstone arc that's after the 50 to 54 Goblin thing.
Yeah, so McGinnis for 4 issues, I think.
But I was like, oh, I was looking at the legacy numbering and I was thinking, well, when's 950? Because we got 50, next month.
Yeah.
But when's 950? And 950 would be issue 63 or 4, I think. So that's interesting. I mean, because the rumors are that he's going to leave at 60, but I could see him staying.
I don't even remember where those rumors started from.
Right.
I think
It was just like, yeah, someone was like, "Oh, I talked to him at a con or something." I don't know.
and Tevia in the comments says, like, I don't get why does Marvel hate Ben Reilly. I'll tell you why Marvel hates Ben Reilly. They've hated Ben Reilly since. Oh, you're gonna get me on a rant. They've hated Ben Reilly since 1996. This is not new. The problem is that they accomplished the goal that they set out to do, which was make Ben Reilly popular to begin with, so they could spin him off in his own series. That was the original plan. The original plan was 6 months, issue 400, boom. Do what you did with Thor and Thunderstrike. Boom. Do what you did with War Machine and Iron Man. Boom. Like, that's what they were doing. That was the vibe. And then the sales department gets involved, stretches it out, not 6 months, but 20 more months. Sales department, Bob Harris, the organizational shifts from the 5 editors-in-chief. Then they brought in Bob Harris. Bob Harris says, hey, your ending, we can't have your ending coming out because it's right around Onslaught. We got to do our Onslaught story because we're gonna license our characters because we're broke to Image. So to do that, we're gonna make it an X-Men event with the Fantastic Four and Avengers dying. We don't want that to overshadow the magnum opus ending that you guys have figured out. Which, again, go listen to CSC. I talked about that extensively, but might as well do it here since I'm wearing the Ben Reilly shirt and I'm wearing the Ben Reilly hat. Then they bring him back. And their thought process is Ben Reilly must be a villain. Doesn't make any other sense any other way. Not that we couldn't do Ben Reilly Lost Year stories for years and did do when Steve Wacker, to his credit, as part of Amazing Spider-Man Family, there was a couple of different stories where Ben's abroad, right? So plot reasons is why they hate Ben Reilly. I literally, conversation I had with 2 members of CSC, who I wish could be here tonight to talk about this themselves, but it was Don and Josh. They had a conversation with Zeb Wells. At least according to them, this is secondhand account, there was some surprise on Wells's face that there were fans of Ben Reilly. Because again, the shitting on the Clone Saga has existed for 15, 20 years, 25 years at this point, almost 30. Because we couldn't talk about clones right after Clone Saga. No, don't bring up the Clone Saga stuff. We don't want to talk about that. Then the one infamous one was during JMS's run. Like, is Ezekiel a clone? Yeah, Ezekiel's not a clone. Clone-free zone. And yes, you did bring up Tevia. Kane's the Scarlet Spider. That was a compromise. I was there. I was the guy that asked the question, when are you going to bring back Ben Reilly, Steve Wacker? At San Diego Comic-Con 2011. Then they had the burning hoodie. It was Scarlet Spider, and Slott had came up with this concept of bringing Kane as the Scarlet Spider. And you know what? That was a damn good series until the end. And again, after that initial series, making Kane the other. Why? Because plot demanded it. Then we get the Clone Conspiracy, and I literally, I think we spent 3 hours tearing that thing a new butthole. So, end of rant. Make that a marker on there. Sorry, Adam. You had to hear all that. Again, I'm sure.
Again, yeah.
It really. I mean, I'm getting heartburn talking about this, guys. Like, part of that's my age, part of that's just getting upset. If they don't know what to do with Ben Reilly, why not get rid of him? Because they wrote themselves into this corner, and they're gonna write it out. That's why I can't be mad anymore. I can't be upset. Like, this is the hill they want to die on. Fine. If there's a redemption arc anywhere, I think every Ben Reilly fan will be like, okay, all right, cool. Because at least when the first time you turn him into a villain, it felt like there was like this glimmer of hope for redemption during the Peter David run, only to be negated. And then all of a sudden, ooh, we're going to make this back to factory settings. And then he appears in Iron Man for fucking reasons. No disrespect to the Iron Man team, but why? And then we bring him back for Beyond, and y'all know how I felt about Beyond. Season 2 of the show. I will leave the link to the playlist in the description below. And then they turned him heel again. So like I say, Beyond, look, I disagree with a lot of that, Tevya. I liked a lot of Beyond. I didn't like the ending to Beyond. Adam, you were there, right?
Yeah, I was there.
This is your first time listening to the show. You know, I was there. Like, we were both there. We both liked it until the end.
Yeah, I mean, it was decent. Yeah.
Just like every other run on Amazing Spider-Man has been, honestly, since 1992. We can't get a satisfactory ending to a run ever. Maybe the closest we got was Howard freaking Mackey, where Mary Jane's not dead anymore, but she's off, going to do her thing, and Peter and her are no longer are separated. That seemed like a decent ending. I didn't like it or love it, but that led to a really great reunification story with JMS. Cool. Oh, the one Beyond issue that Vinkman legit loved was the Mary Jane Black Cat one shot. Yeah. Written by Jed McKay, who's now going to go kill it over in X-Men, who has been killing it over in Avengers. I would saw part of my left arm off for Jed McKay to be the writer of Amazing Spider-Man. But guess what? He's not. It's Zeb Wells. I need a drink of water. I'll be right back. Adam, give me you start giving the audience your thoughts.
Well, I mean, I think these two issues were decent enough. I don't know. Like, my big thing is, it feels like now we're getting Spider-Man stuff after Gang War was not very Spider-Man. All of a sudden, we got the supporting cast. We got familiar villains. We've got interesting art changes. What they did with Ben and Janine here, I think, was good. There was a somewhat of a mature resolution to them for now, at least.
To Ben and Janine?
Yeah.
Agreed.
And, I mean, I don't know. It's nice that, it feels like they're rehabilitating Ben slowly, which is nice. I don't know. I mean, the art's good.
And I don't think we've seen Maxine Danger since I think she appeared in Miles's book, but other than that,
Yeah, she was. Someone said she was somewhere recently. But yeah, it's all her fault.
just gaslight yourself into thinking Chasm is game.
That is true. Like the Hallows Eve design is its simplicity works really
Yeah, I
well.
like the design.
The chasm design's fine. It's a little much, but it's
depends
fine.
on who's drawing it. I thought
Yeah.
that Nock did a good job drawing it. I don't like Ramita Jr.'s rendition of it. I don't think it looks great. So, but round of applause for Zach's ranty McRant rant. Do I really think Marvel will have Ben Reilly and Hallows Eve ever seek redemption? Because personally, for me, I don't see that happening anytime soon. I think it's going to happen starting in that miniseries. I'm being optimistic. But again, I mean, hell, we're doing weekly damn shows at this point. Depending on, because if it's August, then the Shadow of the Green Goblin mini is going to be done. Maybe we'll do the same thing. We'll talk about that miniseries together. Because they like making look, they like the controversy, man. I'm going to use a wrestling parlance. Controversy creates cash. And with Zeb Wells and Spider-Man and Nick Lowe, it's felt like they like the controversy. I didn't know if we were going to bring this up as a news story, and I debated about it because it's talking about another person's platform and show. Cody Ziegler did an interview with the Spider Talk guys, and it lit the internet on fire because Kevin Feige, who never interferes ever, requested. It's all about the tone, about how you phrase it, folks. Hey, can we make Kamala a clone? Or not a clone, a mutant. Nobody figured out how to do this in a story that made sense. So Zeb Wells basically does the old Superman, Death of Superman joke. Why don't we just kill her off? Nobody thought about the optics. Nobody thought about the timing. And they did it. And Ziegler kind of said, yeah, Zeb kind of drew the short straw on that. Because there was no plan other than, hey, and you know what? That happens. There was a Stan Lee story that I think it was Tom DeFalco that shared on this show, on this network, on this platform, on YouTube, where Stan Lee was like, why doesn't Iron Man have a nose? Just thinking out loud. And then all of a sudden, Iron Man had a nose. And then 6 months later, he's getting the pages back and he's like, why does Iron Man have a freaking nose? Sometimes that happens. It's like Kevin Feige said, hey, can we bring Kamala in, make it kind of more, corporate synergy? Sure. How are we going to do that? Just kill her off. Okay. Does anybody know what month it is? No. Oops. So, again, why it wasn't done in an X-Men book when we had Aunt Anna in an X-Men book get dementia, which should have been in a Spider-Man story, but no. Sorry, Neil. I know I'm going to cover it in Krakoa, and I'm going to go on the same fucking rant. Professor, you're right. He says in the comments, to be fair, he could have at least killed her off in Miles's book. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, Mary Jane got scanned by Moira McTaggart and all that. Yeah. That was the free comic book day, was it 2 years ago?
At this point, yeah, I guess.
Speaking of which, the next ASM episode, we will talk about free comic book day. So we'll be covering 3 issues. I didn't expect this to be rant night, okay? To be honest. But I'd only got one. No, I love the fact. Thank you, Adam, for being here. But I only got one co-host tonight, and I'm trying to fill a little bit of airtime. And Ben Riley is the topic du jour. So guess what? The chances of me going on a fucking rant are really high. Bickman says Zach is extra spicy tonight, and he is here for it. This may be a part that I clip for YouTube's posterity. And look, I don't like, and Adam, you can back me up on this. I don't like being part of the internet outrage industrial complex. Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't like it.
I get it.
I don't want the, when I started this show, I wanted to be different. I didn't want to kiss anybody's ass, but I didn't want to do ranting for fucking clicks or for fucking listens. And so when I go on these rants, it's not, I don't like it. But sometimes it's okay. I'm not going to do it all the time, though. You know what I mean? Like every once in a while, it's okay to rant. But again, it's just, I don't want to feed into that. One of the things we want to talk, like, be positive about stuff, you know, in general. And granted, we're going to be ranting a little bit on the next episode of Make My Mayday, while giving the grace that is necessary for the reasons as to why we're going to give that rant. So, all things being equal, all things being said, Professor and Cantor in the comments. They ain't pulling the plug on ASM. ASM can be written by a monkey and it will still sell for a little work. Yeah. Oh, it's because he was answering Tevye. They're not going to do that. Okay. The only way that they're going to do a cancellation of that type of magnitude is if they do a Crisis on Infinite Earths style complete reboot. They cancel everything. And
if Ultimate Spider-Man, oh yeah, go ahead, Zach.
Marvel is not going to do that because it would make them hypocrites. Because they would make fun for years of DC doing it, and then you turn around and do it. Go on, Adam.
I was gonna say, if Ultimate keeps selling well, it would probably. Well, maybe not, but I want to say, like, it would have to make them reassess, like, okay, what do we do with ASM? You know, like, how do we like get that fire back into ASM? Which, isn't that kind of what happened with the original Ultimate and Amazing at the time in the 2000s? Sort of, kind of.
I mean, yeah. If we want to get into that history for a second, Ultimate Spider-Man comes out. It's in the middle of Maximum Security crossover. That was line-wide crossover that ASM they had the Senator Ward story with Mackie and John Romita Jr. on art, and I don't know. I think they'd already brought in Jenkins.
I think so.
Let's see, Mike's Amazing World,
because they get Because they're about to bring back Mary Jane around that point, right? They're getting close to it. It's like a few issues away.
Yeah. All right. So Ultimate Spider-Man. November 2000. So what was going on at Spider-Man at the time? Filter out DC books. Amazing Spider-Man 23. Yeah, this was so they'd already brought in Jenkins for a couple months. This is right before the two-parter with the Green Goblin, the Return of the Green Goblin. Same month that Ultimate Spider-Man 1 came out, the original. Typeface was the villain in the Peter Parker issue. And they were doing Revenge of the Green Goblin as the miniseries. Spider-Woman was still being published. Spider-Girl was undergoing her loss of powers storyline. That was around issue 26 of Spider-Girl. So, yeah. By November of 2001, a year later, we get JMS. JMS's issue 35 comes out. By that point, Jenkins had had started to really do stuff on the books. That was the same story about little black boy whose favorite superhero was Spider-Man, if you remember that one. And that was
That's
around
a good issue.
It's a good issue, really good one and done issue. That same month, issue 13, Mary Jane Peter Parker conversation. So that tells you what a difference a year. And that was partly due to, in fact, how Ultimate Spider-Man did. That's just a testament to the impact that it made. The amount of, okay, we've got to do something, because it was June of 2001. These are the cover dates that issue 30 comes out. So I don't think it will move as fast, but I see that there will be some changes. Bigman. He said he tried and failed to make this point in that email he wrote for Make My Mayday, but he doesn't agree with the notion that being critical or negative makes you a bad person. All that he asks is that we are honest.
Well, yeah, that's the problem. I think a lot of people are being critical and negative, and they're being dishonest.
Yeah. No, and that is the truth. If your honest opinion is this is not good because of XYZ reasons, then there shouldn't be a problem with expressing your opinion as long as it's just your honest, genuine opinion. Yeah, well, and there are some, and the point that I was trying to make earlier is there are some out there. There are some YouTube creators and some comic creators that they are deliberately negative because they know that's what gets the clicks. And I'm not going to back out a little bit. Zoom really forward. But like that is something that we have both here at Spideydude and Comic Binge have tried deliberately not to do. Is we're not going to do things just to that, because like I have some criticisms of like Hasbro, but I'm not going to make my entire channel those criticisms. That makes sense?
Sure.
I mean, I pointed out specific things about that Superior Spider-Man figure, and I am on a lot of the Marvel Legends boards on Facebook, and I made the mistake of following the Marvel Legends Reddit, which can be funny at times, don't misunderstand, but oh my God. if you read the comment section of that place, it is holy shit balls. So, that being said, I get that the outrage industrial complex might make you hesitant about being critical or negative. But I wish it wouldn't make people afraid to express. And look, I agree with that. I wish that it wasn't that way, and I wish that people weren't having to. You want the uncensored opinion. I get that. Okay, that part I understand, and you've been a supporter of mine literally since day one, since the jump. However, being thoughtful with your criticisms instead of popping off has value and merit. And sometimes, not going to name names, not going to say who it is, but I've seen other creators, not necessarily even in comics. They pop off, they make they just diarrhea mouth. And then it's like, oh, then they get accused of walking things back when they start thinking about it, right? So sometimes the hot take is not the best take. This week, I'm going to use a sports analogy, Adam, and then we're going to move on. So grades. This week is the NFL draft. The most useless thing that occurs in the NFL draft season, which is kind of a weekend long thing, is on Sunday and Monday, you will see people giving draft grades. This is before a guy gets on the field. This is before a practice. Before ever a game. We're going to judge this draft. It is the stupidest thing in the world. You know why? The team that was in the Super Bowl this year for the NFC, 3 years ago, they picked two quarterbacks. The quarterback that they thought was going to be their quarterback of the future. And then they took a flyer on the very last pick of the draft on some guy out of Iowa State. You know who started in that Super Bowl for that team? Wasn't the guy that was the number 2 overall pick. It was the guy in the 7th round. Just goes to show, sometimes you got to let the cake bake. When we do these shows and we do the ongoing narratives, sometimes we don't see it. That's why I think things like, because I'm not only going back and
things
listening
like
to
what
Slots
cut out for. Oh, that okay.
Slots of the value of Slot Symposium existing is in that I can go back, I can go listen to what I had thoughts of, I can read the books in my 36-year-old eyes, and then go back and see, okay, what did I say about this? Was I on an episode of Crawl Space talking about this? Oh yeah, I was. Okay. What was my grade? Why was that my grade? Do I think the same way? And sometimes, and as you've seen with the first couple episodes of the Brand New Day stuff, I've given Slot a lot more credit than I did back then. So sometimes you let the cake bake and it may color your perception. So, all right. Adam, anything to add? I've been ranting. I've been spicy. So
I don't know. Sometimes I think people are just getting too angry about stuff that doesn't matter. Some of it does matter, but I think a lot of it doesn't.
Look, I mean, we're here to entertain you and hopefully bring you away from your stresses of your life and provide that means of escape and be able to talk with your buddies and talk Spider-Man, and hopefully that kind of distracts you from very real world problems that are going on right now. We got people in the streets that are dying of fentanyl poisoning and homelessness. And we've got protests going on at college campuses. And we've got a war over in the Middle East. We've got a war in Eastern Europe with the Ukraine. The world is on fire. Our comics are now $5, partly because of inflation, not because they're any good. So, yeah, it kind of sucks right now, but hopefully we're providing that entertainment for you. So leave us more comments down below if you want to give us your final thoughts. As Adam, any more to add? I'm going to shut up now.
I guess I'll say with these two issues and the last two issues, I think the past 2 months of ASM have been more Spider-Man like than they have been in
I do want to
the months before. So basically, like it's May and April. It's March. We've had 4 issues, March and April.
Mm-hmm.
Those 4 issues have felt more like Spider-Man stuff than like the beginning of this year and the end of last year. And I think, I like that.
And I got to look, and we kind of talked about this today in our group chat. I'm going to read a couple of short letters in the letters page, because they're talking about gang war. Dear Spidey Office, wow, gang war has been going great for them. Even though he's only reading the main title, Amazing Spider-Man, he can kind of figure out what's going on in the other titles. By the way, wow, so many editors' notes in issues 42 and 43. They got him curious, but not really enough to go 30 kilometers back to the comic store. By the way, just as an aside, Beetle's new costume, he's not a fan. Still, the gang war itself is quite interesting, and he likes how there's a turnabout at the end of issue 43. What? Tombstone let his daughter do all the work, and now he wants the whole shebang? Aside, where in the world does the whole word shebang come from? Anyway, the Ramita art is also helping to keep him in this story, and he likes the mix of heroes and villains presented thus far. Hopefully, the landing is thoroughly stuck. I'd love to see what you thought about that, Mr. Alan Bowman from Japan. The one I wanted to read is this one from Joel. It says, "Hey, Spidey Office, he has been anticipating gang war since it got announced at Comic-Con, and while there's a lot of fun to be had, he had a problem with it throughout. Spider-Man didn't feel like the main character most of the time. Throughout the event, Tombstone and his daughter Janice were the main characters. Don't get him wrong, he loved them, both of them, but Zeb has a great voice for both of them. But this is the Amazing Spider-Man. It's Spider-Man's book. He doesn't like getting too negative, but he just wanted to point that out because he thinks this would have been the definitive Spider-Man event if it was about Spider-Man. However, he did love the finale, and he's optimistic about the future of the title." To his credit, Nick Lowe printed that letter. Got to give the man credit. He says, "Sorry that you felt that way, Joel. And you weren't alone. This was definitely an unusual Spider-Man story, but that was something that attracted them to it. Spider-Man using his network of friends and allies to deal with a tough situation. The toughness of the situation being extra complicated with his adversary's strategies and choices being often not related to the heroes. It was something else that felt worth digging into. Spider-Man stories are often Spider-Man finding a solution to a problem, and they should be most of the time. It's rare for life to work that way, especially in a complex situation. This story has a way to see if we could play with that. Spidey had his plan, Madame Mask had hers, Beetle hers, Tombstone his, etc. Spidey's plan was to try to stop the gang war and got the closest to resolution as far as he could see. Regardless, we haven't fully seen an end to that story. Maybe someday soon." Meaning, the resolution of that story is going to come issues 55 through 59.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, again, I think we got to let the cake bake a little more. We'll see what happens. So, what is your grade for this issue, my man?
Oh, I don't know. I'll probably just go B-ish because I don't know.
B. Hang on. You said B-ish. I need to fix it. B-ish. Ish. I didn't mean to capitalize the letters, but that's funny. I'm gonna give this both of these issues a B-.
Okay.
They're okay. They're not the greatest issues in the world. I thought they were. I think the Todd Knock artwork really elevates it.
Yeah.
This was probably a C- story, but gets elevated by the artwork. I thought he did a really good job. His pencils were superior. And I wouldn't mind seeing Knock being a part of the regular team, not just a guest artist. I could see him, doing some really kick-ass stuff. It's D+ for Tevye. I guess the artwork was similar to him. Radiac says it was just so funny that Ahmed just putting Kingpin back in his usual spot if gang war didn't happen. I have not read the Daredevil story, so I'm assuming that. Professor in C+, it makes him want a Mountain Dew. Baja Blast for all around. You know what? I should have went to the convenience store and bought me a Baja Blast just for this issue. Neil, salute to you, buddy. We miss you. We know we'll see you next week, hopefully. So art is an A+ for Gary and the Frozen. I agree, Gary. Gary, I absolutely agree, my man. The artwork was stellar. I do share your complaint though, Adam, about the muted colors of Peter's costume.
Yeah, I would say, like, despite my coloring qualms, but the coloring it's pretty good, but like sometimes like and I feel like this happens honestly when we have Romita Jr. on the book. Sometimes the way Spidey's suit is colored, and like, well, it's usually in different lighting in that case. It's kind of off for me, but that was kind of how it was with this too, and I don't know, but it's pretty good regardless.
So Radiac, you may have missed my theory that I threw out there. I think that Spider-Goblin 2 Electric Boogaloo is going to be Ben Reilly, not.
That would actually, I feel like that would just make the story better if it was
actually,
Ben.
I would agree. I would actually agree. Walter, first of all, you missed all my ranting, Walter. So if you want to get me on another rant, Walter, I can do it. I can do it.
No more rants. No more rants. We've had enough rants for.
Let me read his comment. This time he didn't leave it as a super chat. It says, "Okay, everyone, repeat after me. Jackpot of a show. It'll make Zach's day." So yeah, that is my thoughts.
I do think, yeah, if it's Ben who's the Spider-Man who goblins, the Spider who goblins, I think that would make the story way more intriguing and more exciting, actually.
I don't think the solicits say who the Spider Goblin is. I think they go out of their way to be like, it's a mystery.
Yeah.
Not an enigma. So
the reveal is like, oh, it's a green goblin that looks like Spider-Man.
Yeah. Which, again, kind of feels like we've been renewing some trademarks lately. Last year and a half. Spider-Boy.
Jackpot.
Freak.
Yeah.
Just saying, folks. I think we're renewing some trademarks. It's about that time. Oh, you always make me smile. Keep fighting the good fight, buddy, against that big old C. I'd actually, Gary and the Frozen says, I'd actually want to read the story. If Ben is the new goblin, he doesn't mind, just keep Pete the hero. Yeah. I will laugh if it's Peter from another world to tie into the next Spider-Verse with Queen or Gween Goblin.
Yeah. Gwen Goblin.
Gwen Goblin. What's up, Neil? You missed me ranting earlier. So there's that. So you missed the rants. Anyway, final thoughts there, Adam?
I don't know. Not a bad month, really.
Not a bad month. No, I agree. It was not a bad month. We've got a lot of content. So we got last week's episode with the spec stuff. This week with Chasmdude on Saturday. We got Make Mine Mayday. Talking Spider-Verse Unlimited. You might hear some ranting there. Look forward to that. would be really funny if the entire run was Peter going schizo because Gabi Mommy strapped in the machine.
I mean, I guess that's the likely thing.
Yeah. We'll talk about Spider-Man. You know what? I'll talk about Spider-Man Reign when I have the full fucking cast. That's yeah. Not that I don't love talking just with Adam, but I'd like the full cast to get everybody's reactions on that. So yeah, Saturday will be Make Mine Mayday. Next week will be Ultimate Spider-Man 4, the Ultimate Spideydude Experience Episode 4. Then the following week is going to be our Shadow of the Green Goblin special on the 8th. And then I don't have a thumbnail for that right now, but we'll be talking Shadow of the Green Goblin, the first 2 issues. Then the following week, plan is Spideydude Radio Network and the Comic Binge collaboration. Episode 3, Last Legs, covering everything up until ASM 600 that Slot wrote. So, Neil's got some words, so we'll talk about that. Maybe we'll talk about that next episode with the ultimate crew. Who knows? Oh crap. Other than that, we've got a new episode of Books of X over on patreon.com/Spideydude Network. If you've not checked out the latest episode, we're covering issues 3 of all of the Krakoan era of X-Men, and we laugh a lot at Betsy's expense. It's a lot of fun. Can attest in the comments. If you've not already checked out our interviews with Juan Ferreira, where we got to see some really cool artwork on screen, talking Spectacular Spider-Man, where you got to see him give his thoughts about the Into the Spider-Verse cameo and the origins of Spectacular Spider-Man. Also, I do want to give a shout out.
You should. If it's what I'm thinking it is.
Yes. Joshua Lapin-Bertone, the co-founder of this very network, and Greg Weisman are doing a show together where they go through each issue of Spectacular Spider-Man and give you the behind-the-scenes analysis and discussion of it. I will link it down in the description below if you've not already checked it out, or go find it on Josh's page. It's a lot of fun. I have known about this for a while. In fact, if he didn't find a home, we offered him a home, but he's trying to find some sponsors and stuff like that, independent of Spideydude, which is great. I want him to go do that thing and go make it into something independent of the Spideydude network. But it's Spideydude tangentially related because of our previous relationship with Greg, and obviously we know Josh very well. So go check that out. Big shout out to him. If you want to hear more of his dulcet tones, you can hear me talk about Spider-Man clones on Spider-Man Clone Saga Chronicles, the show that started this entire network, as well as Spectacular Radio, which is the prequel to Voices from the Eyrie, a Gargoyles podcast, which just had another episode drop, and we'll have another one, I believe, before the end of the month. So yeah. Neil's got some comments for about Books of X. He says it was a genuine blast, even if he was a little mean to Betsy, but in fairness, it was really funny. It is really funny. Who wins, the spider who gobbles or the Batman who laughs? It's Batman who laughs because he's more crazy. And I mean, one of them died in Fortnite. The other one isn't in Fortnite. So yeah, which is true. Walter, you make me want to drink sometimes. He says, I'm so tempted to start a show called Jackpot Showcase, but he doesn't know what it would be about. So thanks to everybody for watching, that you're watching us live on the YouTube page. Thank you for being a part of our community. If you have not signed up for our Discord, the link is down in the description below. If you want to find us on our social medias, at Spideydude Radio on Twitter /X, Facebook.com/Spideydude Network, Instagram, and Threads. If you're not a part of the YouTube page and you're listening to the audio edition, be sure to give us a like, a share, and a subscribe at Spideydude Radio Network on the YouTubes. And if you want your voice to be heard, 818-925-6631. Finally, I want to thank again our patrons over at patreon.com/Spideydude Network. Our Patreon subscribers are who help us keep the lights on. We've got our newest patrons, Joey on the $1 side, Joyce, RJ on the $5 side. I got the $5 sensational tier patrons pulled up on the screen. Allison, Cindy, Ed, Georgia, Greg, Janelle, Jessica, Jurgen, Catherine, Kale, Laura Howard, Lump Moose, Master, Draymond, Phoenician, Scott, Vanessa, Vicky, and Winnipeg Webhead. Thank you guys for your support, as well as our spectacular patrons, Sarah and Tara. That rhymes, and that makes me happy. And then our friendly neighborhoods here, Greg, Lisa, Ultimate Fangirl, EXE, Keegar, and Joey. And then our VIP, Scott, Sebastian, and Vinkman. Thank you guys for your support over on patreon.com/Spideydude Network. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for being a part of it. Thank you to Adam for being a part of this episode and helping me navigate the rants and raves. Once again, we want to thank everybody that's watching, everybody that's listening, and we'll see you next time here on the Spideydude Radio Network.